Everyone, welcome to Trail Talk Live. I'm your host, Aaron Shimmons, here every Friday night. Where am I sitting right now? I'm moving out of my apartment and I'm sitting on the stairs because this is the best place to bring this week's Instagram Live. We've got a good one. Let's invite James Poole into the room. There is James. James, how are you doing?
Good. Sorry about that. I was just putting my headphones in. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm in Nevada, literally over the state line.
Good. And how's the temperature today compared to the last couple of days?
It's been really cool today until about half an hour ago. It's been quite grey and overcast, but the sun you can probably see is starting to come out. It's got some high cloud, but yeah, it's going to be a warm one this afternoon.
Great. Okay. Well, for the people that are tuning in live, this is Trail Talk Live every Friday, joined with James Poole, who is how many kilometers into the Speed Project solo?
I think I am like 480.
Okay.
No, hang on. I don't know. A long way in. More than 480.
I think you're more than
I've got
4 today.
about, yeah, I've got about 70, I've got about 110 to do. So I'm like, yeah, 560, 570.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we put out a question box 24 hours ago to get some questions because the TSP, the Speed Project, is something that some people have they see it come around every year. They don't really know what is this thing. People are driving through in RVs with TSP taped on the side of the van, and there's a load of people running to Vegas. And every year you do this pilgrimage, it has to be called at this point, of doing it solo and self-supported. Certainly the last few years. And people have got some questions about it. So I think the best way to answer that is to do a Q&A with questions that have been submitted, and you get the pleasure of answering these after what, 5 days on the move with minimal
Yeah, no,
sleep.
no, no. This is my sixth day. Yeah,
Sixth day. So,
yeah.
look, let's start things off. And like, what is the Speed Project, and why was it set? Why was it set up? And let's just give all of these questions a couple of minutes. We don't want to run more than half an hour
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's cool. It started as a relay race from from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. It was around about 340 miles, the first edition. And it was just a group of friends who got in a car in an RV. I don't think they had an RV, I think they had a car. And just one person ran and they did a relay race and it was kind of a thing. And and then it's grown. And I think it was very slow to grow in the first few years, but I think it's its 12th year as a relay race. But then more recently, this is its fifth iteration as a solo race, a solo, more like an ultra. It's as far away from a UTMB or a big organized pro- um, ultra race as you can possibly imagine. And I think lot of hardcore ultra runners might look at it and go, it's just not my thing. But it certainly exists, and it's certainly um, a vibe. It's just perhaps not like the traditional, you know, UTMB or a Centurion or pick a big race series kind
Yeah.
of e- ethos. Most of the people who started the solo are not, they wouldn't consider themselves ultra runners. They wouldn't consider themselves um, anything more than sort of largely recreational runners, I would think.
Yeah, it certainly is a vibe, and it's one of those things that, like, whenever I look at the sort of the analytics of the demographics that like and watch all of the other content that goes out on Trail Talk, it's actually a different demographic that's tuning into the TSP stuff, and there doesn't seem to be a massive crossover at all in the kind of the ultra trail. It's more like um ultra running that has grown a branch out from, like, it's closer linked to, I would say, to like the city run clubs and this type of thing. That's sort of feeling that I get from it. Next question: why did it all start for you?
It started before the first iteration. I was meant to do the first one, but COVID got in the way, and it did happen, but as an American only race because no one could fly. But I had done some longer races, more in the 200-mile mark before, and I guess, although they've become a lot more popular, and there's a few now, all the ones in the US, the Moab, etc., etc. There weren't really very many, and I think Niels, who's the kind of key founder, was just asking around about people who might be crazy enough to go on and do a solo race, and it was nothing more than that. And when he contacted me, he was like, "Oh, you've got 3 days to do it." And I was just like, "Dude, this is 300 miles." And if and it's he was I was very much like involved in the questioning and what was possible. And I was like, if 3 days is the cutoff, I'm out because it's doable, but it's like no one's gonna. You're going to get no finishers. Maybe, but I didn't understand whether he wanted to make it like a Barkley marathons. Was the intention to make it so hard that no one finishes? And that wasn't the intention. I think it was just a case of, his knowledge of ultra marathons was zero. So, it sounds like a long time, and 100 miles of this could be doable. So it came like that. And so I've sort of very much been in it from the beginning. And once COVID ended and I got a chance to do it, I was kind of like, it's a thing. It's a thing.
So there was the original route, the OG route, which was the first route that
Hmm.
was used, and then there
Yeah.
are now shorter routes. So briefly touch on that, but then if you could also like wrap into that, there's a twist this year for two runners, yourself and
Yeah.
another runner, Anya. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I won't get caught up in that. So the original one is the OG route. So that was what they did originally. It's 340 miles. It follows a very specific route. But really, with the Speed Project, they encourage people to go out. No rules is the kind of thing. It doesn't literally mean no rules. Do as you fucking like, and you know run on the freeway. What it means is think differently, go and do it as if without the usual guardrails of a traditional race. So if you do the London Marathon, the New York Marathon, you can't lop a corner off and save yourself 5 minutes. What they did with the Speed Project, it says the starting point is Santa Monica Pier, the end point is the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. That's the route. Those are the 2 points. Get there as quick as you can. So that's enabled people to to literally chop corners off of things, go over bits, get different vehicles so that they can support each other on. Get a pickup truck so you can drive on the rougher trails. Get try and find a new route. And over the years, people have kind of lopped bits off here. And I think the route from the winner this year and last year is about as short as you can get it. 200 about 298 miles, I think.
And how long is your
Oh
route?
yeah, this one. So two of us. I mean, this is my fourth solo. So going back and doing the same thing every year seems a bit weird. But I do like to come and this year we had 41 solo runners, 21 women, 20 men. And two of us who've done it before, chose to do what's called secrets. It is a secret. The difference being that there was given specific places to go to, checkpoints, if you like, just adds a twist to it. I mean, it's a lot longer. It's nearly 700 kilometers, I think. So like 430, 440 miles. Um, it doesn't really matter. You just go to do the things. We started. I started 36 hours before the other runners because I want to finish in the same week as they do. But it doesn't really matter. It's much more of a journeyman. Go out and do it for the sake of doing it rather than there's no one to compete with. There's Anya who's out here somewhere as well, and we're certainly not, pushing to beat each other. We've both done different routes. She has her husband supporting. I'm just here with a backpack. So we've chosen very specific different routes because I can if I have no support, I don't need to stay on the road. I can just go. I can do 50 miles and across the mountains, and maybe that's a better idea than the other. Maybe it's not. Who knows?
It sounds more interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting until you're out there on your own for 14 hours, 15 hours, and wishing that you were near a gas station. But yeah, it's definitely the definitely trails are definitely more fun out here for sure.
Yeah. And you touched on it there, 41 runners, 21 women,
Mm.
20 men,
Yeah,
essentially a 50-50
which is
split
cool.
this year, which
There
is which
was a
is
very
ama
there's a very
it's
much an
amazing like
intention
that.
as well.
Yeah, but that's we don't see that in normal competition. There's definitely the strive for that with a lot of races and things, but we almost never see it.
And this is the extreme end of racing. I mean, like this is 300 miles. This is not a 50. Nothing against 50K. And none of the things I say are about just wait, dissuading anyone or putting badly on other things. But this is quite unusual. And but there has been an active program amongst some people who, particularly people like Lucy, who's this is her third time, who's actually running with a team of four other women. They're pooling their resources together. So there's five women all running pretty close to each other for the whole way and supporting each other and using support crew, which is crazy and amazing in the same breath. And the two. I think now we've got four finishers in so far, and the top two finishers were both women. So, it's just that the Speed Project is. I'm sure there'll be people watching this, people who watch later, who'll be like, "This is so not me." It's just so different, and it doesn't need to be for everybody. But I do think it's doing something different. It's bringing something different to our sport that we love, and yeah, it doesn't need to be, doesn't every race doesn't need to suit everybody, but they're doing some cool things. And if some more races could get behind and get, 50-50 fields or even majority women fields, that would be, again, all for it.
Yeah, totally. No, I think that's a point well made. So the whole one of the taglines that goes along with the project has always been no spectators.
Yeah,
And that
I have
is
it
very much
tattooed on my arm
left
actually.
that's that's left very much up to interpretation because it's just two
Mm.
words, so people can take that any way they want. What is the essence of no spectators?
It to it's to act with intention, which might sound a bit wanky, but what it means is that if you're going to be involved in it, be involved in it. If you're going to be involved in if you're going to do something, don't half-ass it. No spectators. If you turn up here, whether you turn up to run or you turn up to be a crew or you turn up to take photos or you to embrace the experience, you put in something back into it and you'll get it back in return. And if everyone turns up, we've all been there. There's into something where there's somebody who's taking and not giving. And this is about turn up, no spectators, get involved, and that counts from the people putting stuff in starter boxes and doing all the admin behind the scenes. Everyone's doing it with such positivity and such. It's such goodwill that that's why there's a vibe, and I think the no spectators thing if you can take it as no spectators. I mean, there are no spectators because we're doing it's a long way, but more literally, but more importantly, yeah, seize the day. It could be. It's one of those phrases. It's that's what it's mean. That's what it really means. But it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, because there definitely is spectators as much as as much as we can, but
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things that
but but
people would love to
but
have a
even
dot to
even that
follow.
even yeah, but even that is like if you don't just watch it, comment on the thing, share it. That is, positive intentions. Be involved, and even if you're not involved, and that's the thing. That's what makes the thing better and bigger is to get behind someone. Find someone you want to support. Don't just be passive to this thing. And I think we're all guilty of doom scrolling. I think a bit and looking at stuff. Stop for a second and get involved by tuning you do anyone who's here now is getting involved and learning a bit about it, and maybe there'll hopefully more people turn up next year and give it a shot themselves.
Yeah, and as Josh in the chat says, he's interpreted the no spectators as, we're keeping it kind of underground. And one of my wishes here for this live and doing these questions is to answer some of these myths that I think have
Mm,
maybe been taken the wrong
mm.
way. So
Yeah.
leading on that same on the same in the same vein, why do you think the Speed Project attracts so many influencers?
I don't know. It does any more than anything else, to be honest. And I, when I turn up, I think most of those influencers tend to park that stuff somewhere else. I mean, I've been to when I did the one in Atacama Desert a couple of years ago. There were some quite big name influencers there who were completely out of out of their comfort zone because this is a different group of people. I mean, I've done this is my fifth speed project of sorts. So you end up being quite close to a lot of the inner circle of this thing, which isn't meant to sound wanky. It's not. It's just I know people have come back and those same people come back because they like each other. And so, but you'll get an influencer. They come and they do one, and then they go and do something else because that's the nature of being an influencer. But I think it just attracts a slightly different group of people to perhaps our traditional ultra runner. It attracts a group of people. Certainly, the relay is much more road runners, running crews, people, people who are producing, and maybe a sort of creative person who, most crews have got a videographer or a photographer, and they're just putting it out on their own crew accounts and things. But it's a different world to the world of people rocking up to a Centurion Thames Path 100 or something. It's just not the same. And I think over the years of doing it in relay and people standing on RVs, and it is cool. And you're in a crazy place in a desert. It's created perhaps this misnomer that you've got to be cool to do it. It's cliquey. It's far from it. You just need to embrace, lean into it, reach out to people who are doing it and find ways, and there's no real barrier to getting in. You just need to engage with some people who are already in, um and that's as easy as that.
Yeah, like even the very fact mentioning the word influencer, people already get their kind of their back up a little bit, assuming that it's a bad word. But it's really, there's a full spectrum there. Just because somebody is an influencer doesn't mean anything negative, and that's certainly not where I was coming from with it. But
No, 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 no. I
it kind
mean,
of it kind of is
there's
that
lots of
it's
different flavors of influencer for sure.
yeah, but I think it kind of relates to the vibiness of the event, and that I mean, if you do look at a lot of the people that do the speed project, a lot of them look pretty cool as well.
I mean, there's some people who can really run as well. So it's not just you know, the record is for 300 miles. It's 29 hours. Now, team relay teams doing 6 minute miles consistently for 300 miles. It's pretty rapid, and not all of it is on the road. And yeah, I mean, I think some people it's definitely a quirky group. I think there's definitely there's a lot of the key brands are here, or either not so much this year supported by directly, but on there's a lot of Satisfy, and there's a lot of the a lot of people Tracksmith and Bandit and whatever. But and I think the people who are it's not inexpensive. So also the people who are coming here are really committed to their running, even if it's you know half marathons and marathons typically. It's just a group of people who are enthusiastic, but also there'll be some people who don't get it. It's not their thing. They won't, they'll do it this year, and that's fine. I say, it isn't difficult to get an entry form. You do have to put some thought into your submission, and by doing that, it means that when people get to the start line, there is a like-minded group of people because it's always the way that a small group of people can or small number of individuals can actually be quite negative on the overall group. So it's not really gatekeeped, but you know people it's good to have the right sorts of people here along the way, I think.
Yeah, yeah. All right. One other question in this sort of vein. How do you think it's changed over the years? Um, this is your fourth solo, but how do you think,
Yeah.
like, let's think about the Vegas one, but also how it's branched out into other countries.
Well, obviously, it's got a bit more. I mean, when I did the first solo, I mean, Niels wouldn't mind me saying it was just a bit of a afterthought. And there was 8 of us, I think, in the first international year, and I think there was 6 in the first year, first edition. And we kind of did our thing, and there wasn't really much coverage of it. I don't even think, anyone thought it was going to be anything. And so by having more participation, it's become more significant. We get more people interested. We get more people, get more views on Instagram. There's certainly the organization is a bit of a strong word for the Speed Project, but there's more people behind it. This year's had the greatest number of people. It's had its own media team from the Speed Project out there filming people. They do a lot more around it, and it gives, but that hopefully encourages more people to go and do it as well. And then, of course, it's grown into the Atacama Desert, which is running. It's also got the Chamonix to Marseille, which is running, and then this just gone. There was back end of last year was Psych, which was a biking version, which was pretty wild, and looked pretty fun, to be honest. I didn't do it, but I would love to give that a shot. So that was LA to Vegas I think on a preset route rather than straightest line, because I think it will be over and done with pretty fast if you were 300 miles on a bike these days. So, but it's evolved. It's still, I think the DNA of it remains the same, but there's more people involved. There's people bringing ideas to it, and it's certainly um, bigger and better put together, I think, than it was before.
And what about your own personal growth through the 4 years? Because you keep going back as this pilgrimage. I know there must be so much hardship along the way, but I also am envious of those unique experiences that you are getting out there, because with that difficulty comes growth and comes just things that you haven't experienced. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and like, how many, as I said, how many times can you keep doing the same thing? And doing the same thing over again, expecting a different outcome is this definition of insanity. Um, it's just this, today I'm running along and I'm 6 days deep, and yesterday was pretty rough. It was hot, and I think you get to a point when you're a long way in, but you're also a long way from the end, and that's psychologically quite hard. And I'm not sure that this concept works very well with the secrets concept works very well for self-supported solo. There's just it's very few drivers to go quicker to go to do this, because there's no one around. I mean, like, ultimately it's just get to the end, and that singular outcome is quite hard to keep yourself motivated. There's no racing because I don't know, God knows what Anya is, and like we did different routes. So, and honestly, if she finishes before me, great. I'd be thrilled. If I finish before her, she'll probably be the same. I mean, we're not racing each other. It's a little bit odd. And that this is and I wouldn't go. It's a long, long way, and I wouldn't go back and do something this on my own again. But you've got to go and try it to and I'm physically absolutely fine. My feet are fine. I'm just now a bit over. I'm a bit over it. It's good to have an adventure, but at some point, my adventure cup is full. Now it's overflowing, and I just want to get to Las Vegas and drink a beer and not have to sleep I'd like to sleep in a bed and a shower rather than in the dirt on the side of the road, trying to make sure that there's no rattlesnakes and shit. So yeah, and and not have to ration. The thing about this is you have to literally ration everything. I ration power, I ration water, I ration food. Like I don't. If my phone goes, if I run out of battery for my phone, or my watch, I don't know where to go. And this place is, the US is a big country, and where we are right now, there's not a lot of stuff around you. So there's a bit of a risk element to that, and certainly the route I did last night was pretty risky in terms of just being in the middle of nowhere and in the dark. And so, yeah, I mean, it evolves, and I evolve, and every year I go, "Like, not doing it next year," and then I've come January, I'm thinking about, and, trying to find a new quirky way to do it. I'm not. I think I'm running out of options, but maybe what I was saying to the girl who won it, who rang me earlier, while I was, which is one of the things, this is the how nice it is. People from previous years, or people who are running it, WhatsApp, FaceTime you or whatever, and you're running along, and they're running along, and you're like, "Where the hell are you?" And so it's a strange kind of camaraderie. um, which is almost stronger than the desire to win. Um, and some people look at it and go, it's just a big participation medal thing, and they might be true in that. But it's still relatively young, and more people come and try and to go faster might change that dynamic a little. But I mean, the width of the record is still 75 hours, which is pretty much 100 miles a day, back to back for 3 days. That's pretty solid.
Yeah. So the Adventure Cup is overflowing and you're dying for a beer in, in Vegas. So let's
No,
start to
I
wind things
already
down.
have one now. Actually, I have a little beer here now. I'm
Cheers.
like I'm about 17 miles from the hotel now. So in about 3 hours, I will be in a shower. So I think I can reward myself, and then I have about another 60, no, 50 miles ish to finish. So it's a really boring, dull stretch now to get to Las Vegas. I'm in Nevada, so I'm within sniffing distance. So I'm going to go to that hotel and get a few hours sleep, and then make the last push in. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
it's
getting
nearly
there.
there.
So a couple more questions then, and
Yeah.
changing tack since we are getting close to thinking about the finish. What what are you looking forward to when you get there? Like once you get washed and get some sleep or whatever, what are you gonna go and eat?
I don't. It's so weird that eating for me anyway. I'm like out here. You don't. I just your appetite just become my appetite becomes tiny, and I get into these like gas stations, and it's just array of food, and then I'm like, I don't really know what I want. Um, I'll probably head into the arts district tomorrow evening, and there's a couple of good pizza places there, so maybe I get pizza or tacos or something or other, and I don't know. I haven't really thought about that too much. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? You spend the whole time not really eating anything, but also at the same time not really. I think I just get to the point where my stomach becomes tiny, and you don't have a lot to eat. You don't, have this desire to eat, and we'll see. But I'm looking forward to not getting properly clean and sleeping in a bed for more than 4 hours, and yeah, and I mean, the irony is of 4 times of coming to LA to Las Vegas, and don't even like Las Vegas that much. It's like certainly not the Strip. So we'll get there tomorrow at some point, hopefully, and catch up with some of the. I'm looking forward to hearing other people's stories, to be honest, and listening to what other crazy adventures people had, and that's part of that's what keeps me coming back, is that I know other people are doing their own crazy things, and there'll be some things like I won't relate to, and some things that I will, and I don't know. I feel I'm richer for other people's experiences than I am, as much as I am for my own, and yeah, I will drink a few beers and share a few stories, and that's probably the thing that keeps me coming back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, but I can appreciate that. What has been the best and worst thing you've ate along the way?
I mean, I had a pretty bad buffalo chicken wrap last night today, and it was from a gas station about 75 miles away in the middle of nowhere, and it cost $13 for like a pretty poor sandwich, and which is like 10 quid. Um, and it was just, yeah, mediocre, but it was food. Um, that was probably the worst thing. I mean, I haven't had anything that good, to be honest. Oh, no, I had a really good breakfast burrito um, on day two in this. Sometimes you go into these little diners and cafes, and it's just so good. I mean, they're like so Americana. Oh, this one was in the San Bernardino Mountains, and this girl was like super attentive. And when I said I was running to Las Vegas, she didn't even like blink. She was just like, "Yeah, we're in the mountains. People do weird shit." And she just it was like the size of an American football. And I looked at it and I was like, "I'm never going to eat that," but I ate the whole thing, and I think it fueled me for about 2 days. It was super good, and it wasn't very expensive, and just the whole place was brilliant. And yeah, it was just that real locals place in the mountains. So yeah, I've had something good. And yeah, otherwise it's just been junk food. I'm looking whatever you get. And as you know, I do like a cheese and cherry pastry. Um, there's been a few of those. But my bag's been super full, so they've always come out like you might as well just run them over with a car. They're so squashed and flattened. So it's just calories. Yeah, it's
There there was a
quite.
few comments
Yeah,
in
what?
there's a few comments in the Trail
Yeah.
Talk WhatsApp about your uh it was at least a two, it might have been a 2.5 liter bottle of Dr. Toppers or something.
I think it was about half gallon or something. Yeah, so I don't know what that is. Like 2 liters. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. There's funny American measures we don't. Yeah, it wasn't too bad actually. I mean, it's just calories.
How
It's just calories
much of
in
that did you
when you.
drink?
I drank the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, I was there about 4 hours, so it wasn't like it was just one big downing thing. Yeah, smashed through that
That's
and
still
then left about
amazing that you
three
drank
hours later.
that massive bottle, the cheap
Dude, you,
party
you've
pop.
been you've been to you've been to the US. Everything's bigger here.
All right, James. Well, we've come to time on 30 minutes. So is there anything you want to leave us with before we let you get back to what you're doing?
No, not really. But I guess only to get people to lean into the thing, and hopefully whilst it might not be for everybody, I think have an open mind to this, especially if you're like the hardcore, you know, ultra trail runner. Where this is very different. I think it is an experience, and I think if people should keep an open mind about it, and if they want to get involved somewhere or other, no spectators, they're welcome to drop me don't drop me a line before next week because you won't be getting a lot of info from me. But otherwise, yeah, if people want to know how to get involved next year, I think one thing I would say is if you're a female watcher, if you're a part of then there's an easy in for you for next year. If you're a man, then it's going to be a bit more tricky because they're going to want to keep that 50-50 split. But the answer is, if you're male, bring a female friend and you're guaranteed in for 2026. But yeah, thanks for everyone's questions and comments, and yeah, I'll see you in Las Vegas, as they say.
All right. Well, good luck, man. Good to chat to you, and we'll see you soon.
You too.